I'm your boy Kente the Timberwolf.
Turtle.
And this and this is Otaku House. Welcome to another episode. We're actually gonna start this off a little different than what we normally do. For those of you who haven't been caught up, it was just dropped, I believe, a day ago, last night? Yeah, it was just dropped last night that Akira Toriyama passed away a week ago on March 1st. And so, if you would, with us for a moment, we're just going to take a moment of silence for her. So, with that being said, honestly, I don't even know how to describe this man. Like, he has such a body of work that's extensive and deep. His work of arts has definitely touched us all and has influenced us in one way or another, has impacted us one way or another. So, in honor of him, we're going to dedicate this episode to him.
We had a completely different subject in mind, and we opted to change it after last night's news.
Right. So, with that being said, our topic now is favorite DBZ characters in scenes. So with that being said, actually, Toto, I think you should go first.
All right. So my favorite DBZ characters, there is a list here, but number one is definitely going to have to be Krillin, as much as that might shock me.
That's not where I thought you was going to go.
Krillin, at least until Super, Krillin was a representation of the strongest human potential could reach. He was the strongest human on the planet. Don't get me wrong, Tien trained every single day. He was consistent. He was dedicated. He did his due diligence, and I'm proud of him for that. But Krillin didn't just represent pure strength. He represented what the humans specialized in. And honestly, I wish they would have gone a little deeper into, which was the Saiyans had the strongest, like, straight up physical power. Like, they had the overwhelming, powerful attacks. You had the Namekians, who obviously were able to heal. They were basically natural born warriors, just like the Saiyans were. Mm-hmm. They had the ability to create the Dragon Balls,
regenerate cells, like whole arms and limbs.
Mm-hmm. Humans had the best ki control.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Like, the most precise ki techniques we saw were the Death Beam, which was Frieza, don't get me wrong. Bad first choice, but there's a reason I'm starting with that. The Death Beam, which was just the Dragon Ball Z version of the Dodon Ray. Which was a technique of the Crane School. So Tien, Chaozu, Shen, Tao Pai Pai, all of them. Guys, it did literally the same thing. Literally the same attack. The Death Beam was just red. And it was powerful enough that at the time, it was considered to be a one-hit kill on anybody it hit. You have the Destructo Disc. Thanks, Cornell. And absolutely.
Of course.
Oh, thank you. Actually, before I continue this, he brought up the condolences to Akira Toriyama's family.
Which, yes, by all means, condolences to his family.
Kente brought up that he actually died a week ago. The reason they say they waited so long to announce it was that the family would have time to grieve, would have time to
mourn and prep for his funeral.
Which, considering how big an influence Akira Toriyama was on the world as a whole, it makes sense. They would not have gotten a moment of peace, unfortunately, otherwise. Right. So I'm glad they made the decision they did.
Right.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Rest in power.
But not power levels.
Facts. Of course, yeah, we understand that.
Yeah.
Like I said, his influence far exceeds just anime, mind you. Like, if anybody's ever played Dragon Quest or has ever read Chrono Trigger, like, he's in other mediums outside of just anime and manga. And that's, I think, is a testament, honestly, to the type of person or the type of influence and impact Dragon Ball Z had, because it wasn't just like, oh, this is just side projects that he did. Those side projects were good on their own. that if he had started with them, it would have probably had similar influence that Dragon Ball Z did. It's just Dragon Ball Z, I'm pretty sure, was one of his first. And honestly, again, one of the most influential and most impactful. And that's one of the reasons why we're having this conversation, because I think you shared with us in our personal group chat that Ken Sugimori, one of the art designers and
the head art designer of Creatures Inc., who is the company that does the designs for Pokemon.
Right. Influenced a lot of the first gen Pokemon off of Dragon Ball Z designs. I don't remember the name. I looked this up literally hours ago and I don't remember the name. But the guy who originally created Sonic built Sonic around Dragon Ball Z designs and characters as well.
They actually were friends.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's why Super Sonic and Super Saiyan Goku happened around the same time.
Yeah.
They were bouncing ideas off of each other.
Which makes sense. So, this is the reason why we're talking about him. Because obviously his influence far just exceeds the anime that he was working on, Dragon Ball Z, or some of the other ones like Dr. Slump, Chrono Trigger, some of the ones I mentioned earlier. Like, he has a body of work. So, we just want to make sure we take the moment to talk about it, appreciate it, and just want to let others know who don't know, because this is going to be something that, you know what I'm saying, we're doing this, March 8th, 2024? Like, years from now, people are going to somehow stumble across this video and be like, yo, Akira Toriyama, like, everybody was talking about it, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, this is just our appreciation of that man, the myth and legend that is Akira Toriyama. But, yeah, you were saying about Krillin?
Right. So, the Destructo Disc was a key technique that had such precise control that it could cut anything.
Right.
The only instance we've seen it not cutting something was against Cell, and that was anime only. It does not line up consistency-wise with any of its other feats, and considering it was able to cut Boo in half, despite Krillin not training between Cell and Boo, so a weaker Krillin was able to hurt Boo, but not perfect Cell? No. Okay, so Chrono Trigger is one of my top 3 RPGs of all time. Okay, so I understand if you weren't a fan of it, and not knocking you for anything, but Chrono Trigger is one of those RPGs I could go back right now, start over, and with no hiccups, just play through the whole game and just have a blast.
Yeah. Honestly, Chrono Trigger was one of the games that helped me understand alternate pathways in video games. Like, before I got into Persona, I played Chrono Trigger, and I didn't, like, it's a small thing, but, like, spoilers for however year-old game. In the beginning, when you meet the princess, you bump into her, her necklace falls off. If you go to the necklace before you go to the princess, that gets mentioned later, versus if you go and help the princess first and then go get her necklace. Like, everything you do is impactful later. It's brought up later. So yeah, definitely great game. I'd also recommend Dragon Quest just as a series, just because why not? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like, his art form, like I said, the man is good, and the story behind Dragon Quest is also really great.
I've actually never played a Dragon Quest game.
Word?
Yeah.
I'm not
I've always wanted to.
I've only ever played 2, and I actually have one at the crib right now that I just haven't opened up because life. But yeah, it's definitely a great game, a great series.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't put Dragon Quest akin to Final Fantasy.
I've heard the comparisons.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy, you're going to be a fan of Dragon Quest. There's just no doubt.
Which is funny.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Quick tangent, because I love Final Fantasy as a whole. It is probably my favorite RPG franchise, but my top 3 RPGs, not one of them is a Final Fantasy game. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. And yeah, I mean, games evolve over time, so like that's gonna be one of the things, because like with the way Pokemon is now, it's definitely not the way Pokemon was back then. So the Dragon Quest game you probably played back then, obviously, is definitely not gonna be how it plays now. Although they've evolved, it's not as
they've evolved.
Yes, though they've grown with time, it's definitely changed a little bit. Like I said, I've played 2 from way back in the day on Game Boy Color as well as Game Boy Advance, And then the one I have now is for PlayStation 4, so we'll see how much different it is. Because now I definitely have a reason to play it, unfortunately, as it is.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Just, I guess, speedrunning this now. Krillin's Destructo Disc, Tien and Chaozu's Dodon Ray, Yamcha's Spirit Ball, which was the highest amount of control we've seen of any key attack in the series to date, all showed that humans had the best key control of anybody in the show. And that was something I really wish they would have delved a little more into.
True.
Because again, Krillin being the best representation of humans, Krillin was the first human to figure out... Actually, no, Tien was the first human to figure out how to fly, which was pushing your ki downwards. But Tien figured it out mid-training. Krillin figured it out mid-fight with Piccolo.
Yeah, that sounds like Krillin. That's right.
Right. Krillin had the Destructo Disc, an original technique. Tien has the Dodon Ray, but he learned that at the Crane School. That's a Crane School technique. He learned it from a teacher. Krillin developed the Destructo Disc, a technique which Goku, Vegeta, Frieza would all copy.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, when the strongest fighters in the universe are all borrowing off you,
that says something.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Okay, so now outside of just the key control that Krillin had, was there anything that actually connected you to Krillin?
So, Krillin, I won't say was relatable. I would find either Piccolo or Tien more relatable to me.
That's fair.
But what Krillin did was something I found, I guess you could say, inspiring. He started off as a word I can't say because we're trying to be monetized.
Okay.
Just like most of Goku's allies, he started off as technically a rival enemy. Whatever, he gets better because they become friends, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Neat.
That's fair.
But that doesn't differentiate Krillin from any of other Goku's friends. What does is that Krillin does not... I won't say he doesn't enjoy fighting. He does. He likes to fight. He loves fighting challenging opponents. He loves challenging himself. He loves, bettering himself. Not to the extent that Goku does, but he does. He loves to fight. There's a reason he's a martial artist. Krillin, throughout the series, would consistently find himself against opponents that he clearly stood no chance against. And unlike the other Z fighters, or Z warriors, depending on however you want to call them, Krillin was acutely aware of the fact that he stood no chance. So it's not like everybody else where they were like, if we just try hard enough, we could win. That wasn't a thing. Krillin thought in his head, there's no way I'm winning this fight. There's nothing I could do, nothing I could pull out that would allow me to overcome this foe.
Right, no secret technique or nothing like that. That's fair.
But I'm going to try anyway.
Right.
And that for me was the difference between Krillin and everybody else. Krillin was well aware that he was not going to win the fight and just tried anyway. Guys, again, everybody else thought something might pop up and I might win this fight. Something can pop up and I can do something. And that's what gave them the drive to keep trying. Right. Krillin didn't have that. Krillin, having the best key sense of the group, guys, was well aware of the difference between him and whoever he was fighting. And at no point did he ever run away. He was always like, I might die here, but that's not going to stop me from trying.
Sounds to me like Krillin deserves a Green Lantern ring.
Krillin absolutely deserves a Green Lantern ring.
Fair. Alright. So now what's one of your favorite scenes with Krillin?
My favorite scene with Krillin? Alright. Let's see.
Because I can tell you mine.
Tree of Might.
That was a great movie.
Mm-hmm. I know it's not straight up in the canon, and I would love to say Krillin versus Imperfect Cell, because Krillin is not only fighting an opponent who's physically stronger than him, he's also doing it while protecting people.
Right. You know, I'm also mad too, because if I'm not mistaken, that also has a scene that I like with one of my favorite characters. So I'm glad you brought that up, but that's fair. That's still fair.
The Tree of Might, where Krillin actually has time to sit up there and just charge a Destructo Disc, making this as sharp, as precise, and as big as possible. So there's no way this dude is dodging it. He chucks it. This dude launches a bunch of Destructo Discs. Krillin goes through all of them and still veers off because it hit enough of them. And this guy is but it cuts him on the way out. Mm-hmm. And this guy's he's like, how did that happen? But he's still, but he's angry. He's like, all right, we're going to keep fighting. Krillin just had his strongest technique fly off. And what he does is he looks this guy dead in the eyes and goes, come on. Like, bring it.
You know what? That's fair. Okay. So, with that being said, my favorite character is Gohan. As you probably been already aware with all the Facebook posts that I just did today.
That's fair.
Right. I think for me it was just a matter of watching. So first off, Dragon Ball Z was the first anime I ever watched. Not because it just happened to stumble upon it, but because my uncle was the one who put me onto anime. And so, when it came to watching Dragon Ball Z, I saw Gohan as a kid, like, basically grow up, right? And the reason why I enjoyed him as a character so much and related to him so much was because I was always the smart kid. Like, I had a smart mouth on me. I always knew much. Like, anytime someone had a question, this is like, even when Google was already out, and obviously, you know what I'm saying, like, limited access and whatnot, but, like, anytime anybody had a question, they'd ask me. So, like, I was just that kid.
Which is why you wear that crest, I'm just saying.
I mean, of course, this is facts. Thank you. So when it came to watching Dragon Ball Z, Gohan became my favorite character because he showed me that it is possible, especially during the Cell Saga, it was possible that you can both be intelligent and be a strong fighter. And that was the thing that solidified my love for him as a character, because I could tell you right now, before then, it really wasn't there. Like, I could always see that, especially even before Piccolo trained him, like, he had the potential. We all saw that potential with Garlic Jr., Tree of Might,
Raditz.
Honestly, yeah, I was going to say Raditz too. Like, everything leading up to when Piccolo trained him, we saw that, okay, this is a character that, like, he's a kid now, but he has a lot in him. You know what I'm saying? And so it made me felt like, okay, there's someone I can connect to, even if it is a fictional character. And that was the thing that hit me the most. So, like, watching him grow up and then becoming Saiyaman, which I think is just my favorite arc with him, even though I know it's one of the most hated, and I can understand why.
I actually like Saiyaman.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people don't. Yeah, and, like, don't get me wrong, I understand, like, we like it. I like Saiyaman for a particular reason, because it was just like an Eastern take on a Western subject type thing, right? Like, we like Saiyaman. I mean, you have your reasons. I liked it because it was an anime that was, kind of poking fun at, like, Western comic books and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, he was a superhero. He had powers, and he did what any other teenager or, I guess, young-minded kid would have done with powers, which would have been be a superhero.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I really connected with Gohan on that level. And even now, as an adult with the superhero movie, where he has a family and he's still in school and he's, like, learning about ants and entomology, and it's just like, this is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Seeing him in that light.
I would like to correct something real quick. So in the superhero movie, he's not in school.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. He's a professor.
Yes, he's teaching.
Yes, he is teaching. And that's still, like, to me, that's just awesome. Like, you have this brainiac professor who, in his free time, which he still studies, but, like, when the world needs him the most, he shows up. Like, Tournament of Power, I feel like, was probably the best example of that. Yes.
Yeah. But also, he also takes inspiration from Kamen Rider.
Go on?
Yeah, Saiyaman.
That's facts. Yes, that I can see. I was just like, I didn't know Gohan did.
Yeah.
But Saiyaman, I can definitely see that. That makes perfect sense. It does. Yeah. So, now I would say one of my favorite scenes with him was in the Cell Saga. And it was particularly the one where I think it was Goku. It was either Goku or Piccolo telling him, with one of his dads, telling him that he has Cell against Robe, he needs to finish him now, right? And then Gohan is just like, no, I want to watch him suffer. That moment to me was just like, yes. I don't know how else to explain it outside of the fact that it validated my feelings for Gohan, and it validated my feelings, period. Because it showed me that, one, like, a calm and, like, caring kid like Gohan can have this 180, and everything that happened afterwards, of course, helped circle him back to the character who he really is. But having him have that 180 shows that, like, yes, you can have this person that you see all the time that you think of in one way, but as soon as you put me in the wrong position, now you want to see a side of me that you didn't want to see. And that was the thing that I loved about him so much in that moment.
I would actually like to add something to that. Because Gohan having Cell on the ropes like that, by the way, it was Goku who told him to finish him off.
Of course.
Gohan having Cell on the ropes like that is the equivalent of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. Where he's doing the whole, like...
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, that thing.
That horrible dance.
He was a dork. He was a nerd who was trying to be cool.
Shout out to the nerds.
Shout out to the nerds. Gohan, that was the first time he ever had an opponent on the ropes. Gohan was always showing off his power prior to that. Like, he cracked Raditz's armor, he knocked Frieza down, so on and so forth. That was the first time he was ever dominating an opponent. Because, like, for all those other guys, as the announcer even said, it was a burst of power, and like a flash, it would disappear as quickly as it came.
Yeah.
So he would hit them, you're good, later Cornell. He would hit them really hard, but then that'd be it. So he would have an explosion of power, but then he'd be right back to being on the losing side. Him versus Cell was the first time that he was in control of the fight. And at that point, he kind of, I guess you can say, lost himself. But he had the rage from Super Saiyan also influencing that. Like, as Goku states, the higher in Super Saiyan you go, like, the stronger your, like, bestial instincts come out.
Right, makes sense.
And he was first one to go Super Saiyan 2, so the normally calm Gohan, who's just got Super Saiyan, is not even used to that. Like, he's relaxed, he has the full power Super Saiyan state going on just like Goku does. He goes Super Saiyan 2, he's not only just hitting the amount of rage that Super Saiyan has, but higher than that is now influencing him.
Right, and he's more beast than human even.
Mm-hmm. So when he, at this point, has Cell on the ropes like he does, that is his natural reaction. Because he got arrogant. He got cocky like a Saiyan does. He's not used to having that.
And that's fair. That's definitely fair. But even still, granted, at the time, I obviously wasn't well aware of that. But, like, still seeing him in that light put me in a really good, you put me in a good spot.
What I mean is that it adds to your point. Was that even someone like Gohan, even someone like as calm as Gohan,
right, and as educated and as intelligent as him, can still be a beast.
Mm-hmm. He fell to his bestial instincts.
Yep, that's fair.
And then he eventually recomposed himself. He got himself together, which, considering it was a brand new transformation that he was the first one to ever get,
Definitely.
It's actually pretty impressive how quickly he did that. But he was still able to fall prey to that.
Right. Which, that's fair too, though. Like, you can't expect everybody to just be cool and calm and collected their first time going to a beast form like that. Which, just quick tangent, Digimon Frontier, like, every one of them, when they went to their beast form outside of Zoe, was immediately controlled by the beast instead of, like, being in control of it. So I figured that makes sense.
And that might just be because Zoe was already so angry when she went beast.
It's true, that it was easier to probably take control of it. Well, okay. So now... You said Krillin. I said Gohan. Who's your second favorite character?
Who's my second favorite character?
Yeah. Because I know mine. I know my scene. Oh, bet. Vegeta. And I know, like, people were surprised that we probably didn't mention him sooner, but facts be facts. Like, Vegeta is one of my favorite characters, but I have to put him behind Gohan because of how well I connected with Gohan. But Vegeta was just, like, a point of power where it was just like, just because I'm evil doesn't mean I can't be convinced to fight for good. 1, 2, this man was willing to punch kids, right? And then became a family man not too long after, let's be real.
Where he continued to punch kids.
Because he did the same way he punched Gohan was the same way he did to Goten. Yep. So, like, yes, absolutely, which just means to tell me, because he chopped Trunks' neck, but like, he seems to beat the heck out of Goku's kids.
Oh yeah,
just saying.
Goku.
Of course.
According to Vegeta.
Of course, that's fair. So yeah, like, Vegeta has to be one of my favorites simply because I am someone who talks smack a lot.
Yes, you do.
And no matter what, I talk smack a lot. So
you definitely follow the mantra of if I'm in last place, I'm talking crap to the person in first place and hoping they mess up.
Yep, period. I don't care. If I'm in second place, I'm talking crap all the way to last and making sure that the person in first messes up. That's it. Like, that's just me. And, like, I know I don't connect to Vegeta the same way everybody else probably has because I know Vegeta's a favorite character for a lot of people. But to me, that doesn't, like, it's not on that same level. It's always been, like, his level of pride, his level of arrogance. Like, his literally his Saiyan pride. Like, that's something I connected with. As far as, like, his redemption arc and the Buu Saga, which I know a lot of people are still, like, the Buu Saga was an unnecessary saga. It was absolutely necessary for Vegeta. Like, you could hate the Buu Saga all you want. That Buu Saga, it did a lot more for Vegeta than it did probably any other person. But we also needed that because when he did Final Explosion against Majin Buu, that was something we needed to see. All right, and honestly, it more so for me at least, we needed the fight between Majin Vegeta and a dead Super Saiyan 2 Goku who was holding back. Like, we needed that. And, like, having that scene play out the way it did, having Vegeta blow himself up just to think that he killed Majin Buu, just for, like, everything to come right back with Majin Buu, just for Goku to go Super Saiyan 3, waste his time in fighting him off and not accomplish it, just for them both to end up being dead and fighting him off later. All of that, in my opinion, was absolutely necessary. So now, in that regards, yes, I can understand why Vegeta is everybody's favorite character, especially with that redemption arc like that, because that's absolutely fair. But now, when it comes to my favorite scene, because I know a lot of people's favorite scene is that Final Explosion scene, my favorite scene with Vegeta will always be the fight with him, and I think it was, I want to say Goku was there, but I don't remember because Vegeta took over the show. It was Vegeta versus Dr. Gero and Android 19. Right? I will always love this scene because the look Vegeta gave to Android 19 after trying to destroy him and then letting Dr. Gero know all of the information that you have on us was before Namek. Alright? You thought you had us before Namek. And then for him to look at Android 19 and then the piano music in the background.
Vegeta's theme is top tier.
Oh my, when he looks at him and says, "Tell me, does a machine like yourself ever experience fear?" Oh my god. I was in my bag with that, and so was Vegeta. So yes, to me, that's my favorite scene with him. That's one of the best scenes Vegeta ever had outside of the Final Explosion scene. But like, Vegeta is one of my favorite characters in that regard because he was pride, he was arrogant, but he could also back it up. Like, it wasn't just a matter of like, he couldn't put the money where his mouth was. He could put his money where his mouth is and put more behind it. Like, Vegeta was amazing.
Valid. I am one of the ones who loves Vegeta for his redemption arc.
That's fair.
I thought his character development was incredible.
Of course.
If I had to pick like a second favorite character, Cell.
That's not where I thought you were going with this. Okay.
Because the story arc that led to Cell becoming as powerful as he is so good. It is so insanely good that it's hard to get around it. Because Cell reaching perfection doesn't happen unless every single Z fighter screws up.
Okay. Elaborate.
The only one who doesn't really take any kind of blame on this one is Gohan, honestly. Actually, no. Gohan allowed him to go super perfect Cell. Never mind. Yeah, Gohan takes blame on this too. So,
how did Gohan take blame?
For not killing Cell.
In his perfect form?
Yeah.
I thought that was old Vegeta.
That was Cell. That was Cell.
I mean,
obviously it was Cell. That was Gohan. So I guess, Gohan, kill Cell now. You know the thing you just mentioned?
Oh, wow. You know what? That means I forgot the scene, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
So he's, hey, like,
Yeah.
No, he needs to suffer. You remember that moment from 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, you're right.
So, Goku doesn't take his medicine.
Oh, you're right.
Therefore goes down to Android 19, and therefore isn't around when Imperfect Cell is running around. Piccolo, instead of killing Imperfect Cell, gets information out of him. Krillin destroys the self-destruct device that would have killed Android 18, and therefore allowing him to go Perfect Cell. Tien, instead of shooting 18 and 16, which don't be wrong, I understand why he shot Cell. Shinkikoho.
Yes.
Kikoho. Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Like, don't get me wrong, which was raw.
Yes, but also can we talk about how he made a triangle with his hands but made a square on the ground? All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Guys, he shot Semi-Perfect Cell and it was awesome. Aim it a little to the left, you kill 18, Cell can't go perfect.
Yeah, that's fast.
Actually, no. Never mind. Yamcha's the only one that doesn't take an L on this.
The one done.
Mm-hmm. Because he gets stabbed by Giro, and then he's pretty much out of commission for the rest of the arc. So everything that happens to Cell cannot be blamed on Yamcha.
No, I still take that back. He still takes an L, just not the L that makes Super Perfect Cell.
He keeps Goku safe from the androids. I'm giving him a dub for Cell arc.
Probably one of the few he has.
Your Yamcha hate was something I will never understand.
I don't care for him. The one thing I will give Yamcha is Wolfang Fist. But that and that alone.
The Spirit Ball. Screw you. But...
Nah. Spirit Ball is just a mini Spirit Bomb.
It has the best control. Nope, we're not getting into this right
now.
No. Okay.
Not for Akira Toriyama, we not.
Guys, Vegeta. We don't need to go into why this is Vegeta's fault.
Of course. Like I said, Vegeta's prideful and arrogant.
Yep. I want you to go perfect. Jesus, Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
Trunks. Don't get me wrong. He's like Ultra Saiyan or Super Saiyan Grade 3 or whatever form you want to call it. Guys, he had it. Vegeta had it. They didn't use it against Semi-Perfect Cell because Vegeta knew it was a worthless form and because Trunks didn't want to make his father feel bad. You know, Vegeta.
Vegeta was already going to feel bad anyway.
Guys, had Trunks whipped that out against Semi-Perfect Cell, he was probably still going to be faster. He could have killed him on the spot.
Yeah.
Or Trunks could have taken the destruct button from Krillin.
Facts.
And he could have used it. Because he, by all means, he would have did it.
Facts.
Piccolo, I tell you that, we already went over everybody.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So
right.
unless all those people screw up, Cell doesn't get perfect. Yeah. Cell is not only a combination of the DNA of all the Z fighters, his strength is a culmination of all their mistakes.
Huh. Somehow I feel like we're talking about Ultron, but yes, I understand.
Oh, it's the same principle.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
So the storyline that leads to Cell, what he represents, his theme, it's...
Yeah.
Chef's
yes, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it there.
Cell's the best villain, Frieza was just a space racist.
I'd still one up you and say Majin Buu, but Majin Buu is just Cell but gummy.
Cell wanted to fight strong people. Buu just wants to blow stuff up.
Cell wanted to fight strong people because of the Goku DNA in him.
Correct. He still wanted to fight strong people. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't just say, oh, because Cell has this DNA in him. That's his entire personality.
I mean, no, his personality is Vegeta. Him wanting to fight strong people is Goku.
What I mean is that, like, he didn't have his own. Like, he's a combination of
Oh, well,
all
that's
theirs.
right. Yeah. He wasn't cautious like Piccolo.
How? You mean when he, like, solar flared all of the Z fighters and ran away because he didn't want to die? You mean how he avoided 17 and 18 until he was strong enough to beat them?
I still wouldn't say so. Like,
you mean like how he was talking trash to Vegeta solely to get him to let him go perfect? Not let him, help him go perfect?
Alright, sure. No, I'm only saying sure simply on the fact that nobody wants to die. So, like, it's easy for him to run away from a fight. Because Krillin would have done the same thing. Yamcha would have Tien. Like, all of them would have done the same thing. Except Goku. But, like...
What I'm saying is that he showed Piccolo's intelligence because he quickly figured out how to hide his ki.
Okay.
Because unlike 17 and 18, he does have like don't get me wrong, he's a bio android, but you can apparently sense him.
That's facts.
So he was like, oh man, I might lose this fight.
That's fair.
17 and 18, I know where they're at.
Which, by the way, didn't he get that from no, Krillin didn't create that move.
Tien did.
That's what I thought.
But he learned it when Krillin used it on him.
So Krillin did create it.
Tien created the solar flare. I'm saying Cell learned it.
Oh, from Tien. Gotcha.
Krillin used it on him.
Oh, got you.
Krillin learned it by watching Tien do it.
That's fair. I feel like Tien and Piccolo, Tien and Krillin basically created a lot of the moves that people be using.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you ever see Goku against Nappa again, there was a point where Nappa does like his break cannon against Goku.
Yeah.
And Goku, the thing he literally killed Piccolo with, and Goku just like yells and the being blocked stops in front of him. That's something he learned from Tien.
Oh, I actually was not aware of that.
Because Tien does it in the fight against Goku, actually. Goku used the Kamehameha on him, and Tien does the same thing and blocks it.
Okay.
It's like a thin wall of ki or something.
See, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z. I didn't watch a lot of Dragon Ball.
You should.
I believe that. But the Red Ribbon Army seems...
I would argue Dragon Ball has a better story than Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, so that means I have to just get through the hard parts. Because I've seen the beginning of Dragon Ball, I'll admit. Like when Goku meets Bulma and when they start looking for Dragon Balls. But like as far as when King Piccolo comes in or when Tien was an enemy, never seen any of that. And actually, a majority of the Red Ribbon Army, as Goku was a kid, I didn't even pay attention to because I didn't see that.
So that means you didn't make it past the first arc. Because the first arc is the Emperor Pilaf arc. It's based straight up off Journey to the West.
Oh, then I definitely didn't see that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So you that was the arc where he met Bulma, met Yamcha, and all of them.
I met. Okay, now that you mentioned Yamcha actually in that, I remember when he meets Yamcha because I remember when he meets Bulma and when they start looking for Dragon Balls. I remember when he meets Yamcha simply because I remember when he did the Wolfang Fist, but. After that, didn't see much of it, so I don't. Yeah.
You should go back.
Probably will. Eventually will. There's a list of anime I need to go back, especially old school anime.
GT is also important. Even if the Black Star Dragon Ball arc is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. If you can make it through that, you can make it through the rest of the show.
I thought this was a Akira Toriyama appreciation thing.
Yeah, he liked GT.
Oh, okay. Well then, sure.
Yeah, on the GT Dragon Box, there's a quote from him that says, "I'm lazy and I don't like to work. So I let these guys do whatever, and then I watched the show and I loved it."
Oh, alright. Well, that works.
Yeah. I hate the Black Star Dragon Ball Saga with a burning passion. I hate it so much.
That's fair.
But the rest of it ain't that bad.
I just like Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta.
Which apparently Akira Toriyama helped design.
That is fire because they both looked amazing. And honestly, to this day, I would love to see a fusion dance of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Oh, no. Okay, so hear me out. Fusion dance between Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, right, into Gogeta. Uh-huh. But then I want to see, which I know is not something that probably be possible, but Patora earrings between Goku and Vegeta as Vegito, and then those two fuse.
So that's called Gogeta. It's been a fan thing for years.
So Gogeta and Vegito actually fuse.
Yeah, so it's not a real thing. It's not canon. But Gogeta is something that the fans have been making. They made years ago.
I guess
you're asking if it's possible. The answer is no.
Of course.
But fans are gonna be fans.
I mean, I guess it does make sense though because why isn't it possible? All they gotta do is fusion dance again.
Because at that point, you're basically fusing the same soul twice. The only reason it worked for Zamasu and Goku Black is because Super doesn't care about rules, and also because technically they are separate bodies, so they are fusing the same exact mind together. So while you have Gogeta and Vegeta, who are both a combination of Goku and Vegeta and then Goku and Vegeta, trying to fuse them again is too much of a mishmash. It wouldn't work.
True.
Whereas Goku Black and Zamasu, despite having literally the same soul, It's because they have literally the same soul.
Oh, that's right.
Like, there is no variation in there whatsoever other than the physical body they're in. And also because Super likes to ignore rules.
Facts.
Also, I will continue to hate on Super for coming up with fantastic ideas and then screwing them up.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. As far as any other works from Akira Toriyama, what else have you dived into?
Well, I've already talked about how much I love Chrono Trigger.
Right, same.
Guys, I have read some of Dr. Slump.
Okay.
I have read all of Sandland.
Nice. How is that? Because I saw that as a thing that he did, and I didn't know anything about it.
So it's a miniseries he wrote after Dragon Ball. It's set in the same universe as Dragon Ball.
Okay.
But I can't tell if it's before Dragon Ball or after. I have to assume it's way before Dragon Ball because it's the same world. Spoiler for anybody who has not read Sandland, you're giving 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deborah's in it.
Ah, okay.
He's the main character's father.
Okay. So this is about Deborah's son.
Yes.
And
Talk
about the devil incarnate.
And his son is named Beelzebub.
Of course it is.
So the reason it's called Sandland is that basically the entire Earth is currently a desert.
Sandland. Okay.
And the only water sources in the world are being held up by this king of the world who charges people obnoxious prices for water.
Okay.
And Beelzebub goes to stop him, not because of like any heroic instincts or anything. He's bored and he's trying to get out of the house. So he found an excuse to do anything, and he found out about this resistance or whatever, trying to stop the king. He's like, that sounds fun. So he hops on board and goes with him.
Okay.
And it's just kind of a goofy story at that point. Has a few fights. Honestly, it's only 13 chapters long. It has a few fights, including a final fight where the final boss is definitely an inspiration for Hunter x Hunter.
Okay. That was actually something I was actually curious about too, or something I wanted to bring up, which was what was inspired by Dragon Ball. Yeah, like what, like.
You want a list?
I mean, I can tell you right now off the top of my head, I know Sonic and Naruto are.
Yes.
Like, I know that for a fact. I know a lot of people online I've seen on Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it, mention that we wouldn't have One Piece without Dragon Ball. But I wasn't sure of the connection.
So Ichiro Oda was a fan of Dr. Slump.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, he was keeping up with Toriyama's works in general.
Okay.
So when Toriyama dropped Dragon Ball, guys, that was when Oda was starting to plan out his universe.
Okay.
So he was reading the OG Dragon Ball, eventually reading in the Dragon Ball Z, and he liked the themes of freedom, which is what led to
pirates. That's fair. Okay.
So Dragon Ball influenced the creation of Naruto,
right.
One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Really? That's not something. Dang. That means even with the inspiration of Dragon Ball Z inspiring Yu Yu Hakusho, that means Demon Slayer still has to give credit to Dragon Ball Z.
Correct.
Because I've been saying for a long, if you follow me on Twitter at all, which you should, I've been saying for a long time now that Yu Yu Hakusho is the grandfather to all these demon slaying or curse fighting animes that we have now. Right? So like basically, without Yu Yu Hakusho, we wouldn't have, at least in my opinion, I may be wrong, who knows, without Yu Yu Hakusho, we wouldn't have Bleach, we wouldn't have Jujutsu Kaisen, we wouldn't have Demon Slayer.
Well, we absolutely wouldn't have Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Like, if it's an anime where they have to fight some sort of supernatural being, it's probably because of Yu Yu Hakusho being the inspiration. So if you're telling me Yu Yu Hakusho is also inspired by Dragon Ball, that's like full circle ouch for me. Like, dang, okay.
Main character in a brightly colored outfit that defeats his enemies with bright blue beams that he launches from his hands.
Dang, that means both Shadow the Hedgehog and Hiei are based off of Vegeta.
Yes. That's correct.
It's just an all-black character. Jesus, man. Okay, alright. Any other ones that I need to know about? Because I thought I didn't think the list wasn't. I knew the list wasn't short, but I just didn't think some heavy hitters was also going to be in there like that.
Well, do you ever wonder why Dragon Ball was called the father of modern shonen?
I've actually never heard it called the father of modern shonen. Yes, I kid you not. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Every anime site I ever went to, like growing up, said that Dragon Ball was the father of modern shonen manga.
Okay, so I figured it was just because it was one of the most popular ones, or at least one of the more impactful ones because of how good the fight scenes were,
The biggest inspirations for, like, especially our era of reading manga and watching anime were Dragon Ball, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
So that means I wouldn't have Black Clover without Dragon Ball Z.
Correct.
Hitman Reborn.
Correct. Also, which is even better, because both JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Dragon Ball were inspired by Fist of the North Star.
Oh yeah, which is just a classic. Saint Seiya.
Saint Seiya, I would say, is not
inspired by Dragon Ball. Right, okay. But is it also older than?
I think it's older than.
Okay, that's fair then. So I get that. Jeez. Shout out to Akira Toriyama.
Shout out to Toriyama.
Damn. Yeah, so this is it then.
Hell, who was it? What series is it? Purple suit, like long nose thing. They're villains.
Purple suit, long nose villains?
Yeah, that's like this long tube thing that it has like a mask with like a long tube thing that comes out for the mouth. Supposedly helps them breathe. They're villains. I'm trying to remember where they're from.
The only thing that's coming up to my mind right now is Desert Punk.
No,
which, good anime, by the way.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, no, nothing's coming to mind.
Which, by the way, the manga for Desert Punk finished years ago. The anime was canceled before it got that far.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. The manga ending might not make people too happy.
And just a heads up.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, those characters I'm trying to remember are based off of the design of Toriyama himself. So like a bunch of mangaka, when they write their manga and they draw them, they have a representation of themselves at the end.
Oh, true. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. Okay, so basically the character that he has based on him, someone else took a similar idea or took that idea and made something similar for their anime. Okay. Now I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think that little guy is also the inspiration for Shy Guys and Mario.
That would be amazing, because that really just means like, is it far-fetched for me now to say, because of what you're telling me, is it far-fetched for me to say that Akira Toriyama is the Stan Lee of the East?
Mega Man Battle Network. So it was the purple suited guys. It was in Battle Network 5. They were like the grunts. Anyway, their design is based off Toriyama's design for his character.
Oh wow. All right. But now my question still stands.
What?
Is it far-fetched to say that Akira Toriyama is the Stan Lee of the East?
I would argue yes. Absolutely.
All right, bet. So that's being said. So,
I will say this again, because Dragon Ball dropped in the 80s. And to this day, the only series that has sold more, copies of their manga is One Piece. And that was a very recent thing.
That's fine.
But when it comes to their media overall,
right,
like including the anime, so the anime sales, including the game sales, including action figure sales, including all of that, no anime or manga has beaten out Dragon Ball.
I believe that.
So in almost 40 years.
Okay.
Actually, hold up.
That's
No, it is. Dragon Ball debuted in 1980. So in almost 45 years.
No one is beating Dragon Ball.
No one is beating Dragon Ball. And One Piece only beat it in manga sales.
I mean, of course, as it should only. But okay. Hey. My thing now is what I'm concerned about is the future of his content, right? The future of Dragon Ball. I wasn't really too into Dr. Slump. I knew about it because of the crossovers that they've had. I'm curious about the future of his works and where it's going to go now.
Well, he already has a successor.
Okay, but and I know he was working on a lot of projects before he passed.
Yes. So his successor was a guy who worked with him on the more recent Dragon Ball stuff.
Okay.
And for what it's worth, because his successor is a dude named Toyotaro.
I believe you mentioned it before.
He is the main author for Dragon Ball Super's manga. And for what it's worth, all the way up until the Tournament of Power, the manga was better than the anime in every aspect. Mm. The only parts where the manga dropped the ball were parts where it had to line up with the anime. So decisions that the characters who were established in the manga, mistakes they would not have made, they had to make in order to keep it in line with the anime.
Okay.
But, so when Toyotaro is allowed to do his own thing, he seems to do a not half bad job. Super still sucks. I will die on that hill. But, honestly, I feel like he could probably get it back together. He could probably get the show, well, get the manga at least good and running.
Okay. That's good to know. Alright, so now with that being said, any last words you want to say?
Absolutely. We have Shenron here. So, in the spirit of Toriyama, I want to use the best version of Shenron we've ever had. Which was...
Rayquaza? Sorry, what?
Agreed, but still. Which is the one Dende made. You get 2 wishes. What are they?
Ooh. For anything.
They have to follow the rules of that Shenron. So if you're going to bring somebody back to life, they cannot be somebody who died more than a year ago. Mm-hmm. You probably could wish for immortality. Oh no, Dende removed the ability to wish for immortality because he's smart.
Dang it, he died way more than a year ago. I was gonna use both my wishes to bring back someone who's passed away. I was gonna bring back Stanley, and then I just bring back Akira Toriyama. Both healthy.
So, I was also considering Akira Toriyama, but I don't think I could do it because it brings them back in the condition they were when they died.
Which is why I bring him back healthy. I wish him back healthy. Like, if that's those things I can do. Whereas it's like, bring him back alive, but in the condition he was when he was 20 years old.
I think that would have to be 2 separate wishes.
Oh, that's a problem.
Because when they revived Frieza, they revived him and he was in a bunch of chunks, which is how Trunks left him.
Got you. So then I'd write it down because apparently that's the only way to supersede something having conditions. Like, I'd write it down, like, bring back Akira Toriyama in the condition he was when he was 20. I wish for everything that's on this list. Yeah. That's one of the ways where you can get, since like most things where you would want to make more than one wish or wish for more than one wish, just write down everything you want on a piece of paper. Like, hey, I want everything on this piece of paper.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. But, I mean, if that's not something I'd be able to do...
I mean, you might be able to do it that way. But...
Well, yeah, at least for Akira Toriyama. But other than that, I wish to be a Saiyan.
Let Betty White live one more week.
No. No. Let everybody from the Golden Girls live one more week.
I probably wish to remove debt from the world.
That's fair.
It is partially selfish. It helps me.
I mean, not solely.
It doesn't solely help me, true, but it does partially help me. Well, it helps me a lot, but part of the wish helps me.
Yeah, part of the wish helps you. Yeah, I remove all debt from every. Yeah, that's fair. I wish for that.
Second wish. I would like to fix the ozone layer, but then we would just screw it up again. Clean the planet. No, we would just screw it up again.
True. Really? Is that what you would do?
Absolutely not.
I'm about to say, do we have to reiterate it again? Genocide is bad.
I probably wish for a functioning Digivice.
I wish for 8 functioning Digivices.
That's valid. Actually, no, I changed my wish. 8 functioning Digivices. I get to pick who they go to.
I don't think I can. I don't think I want all that responsibility.
Absolutely do.
I'd wish for 8 functioning digivices and quests with tags and whatnot to those who absolutely deserve. I wish for a Green Lantern ring. I wish for a planet that would dispose Green Lantern rings or distribute Green Lantern rings to anyone who absolutely deserves it.
You
for
just
the
wish
moment.
for Oa to be real.
Yes, and obviously a functioning battery.
Valid.
Yes. But yeah, happy it.
I just want to make sure Digivice doesn't end up in basically Hitler's hands.
I mean, Ken did it, but
Ken wasn't basically Hitler. He turned into basically Hitler.
and then he got out of it. So like that says a lot.
Well,
but it'd be a
is-
functioning Digivice without a Digimon.
You see, that's what makes it functioning. I'm basically wishing for a world to end.
Alright, well then, with that being said, thank you guys for another episode of Otaku House, Nerds Kingdom. We'll be back again next week with another new topic. And again, we just want to show love and appreciation for Akira Toriyama, condolences to his family, and just, you know what I'm saying, just take this moment in the nerd realm and nerd community to appreciate his works of art and everything that he's done for us. Because we have to remember the goal isn't to live forever, but to make something that does. And he's definitely made a lot of things that has. So, yeah. With that being said, Otaku House, Otaku out.
See you next week on Otaku House.